What up, folks, and welcome to the Kyber Culture episode 118 with myself, the Mandalorian, and Jedi Master Kel Aaron Beck.
Sabered
Today
hand.
we're just the sabered hand. He's here himself. Today we're just chatting some Star Wars news and recapping Chapter 20 of The Mandalorian, The Foundling. So stick around, make sure to follow the Kyber Culture on all our socials. The links are in the description. And if you like what you're listening to, please consider leaving a rating and a review wherever you get your podcasts. We really appreciate it. But before we get started here, how's it going, man?
It's going okay, man. Nothing too noteworthy or new. Work's just been an absolute dumpster fire. Other than that, on a positive note, Mr. Beham, he'll be coming up here for yet another Seattle wedding. I don't know how many people he knows up here in Seattle, but it sounds like kind of a lot because this is like the third time.
Dude, his friends just love getting married in Seattle.
Yeah,
because I think we've talked. Yeah, no, it's very nice. We probably talked about the two other weddings that he's been to on this pod that were in Seattle. So this is number 3. I'm sure your friends are great, Brian, but it's just funny.
Yeah, it's crazy how you know that many people that get married in Seattle, like within a 2-year span. But yeah, no, it'll be great to see him. We're only going to kick it for like an hour or two, get some good food, and I'll be there transport for the day, which I never mind doing. It's always fun being the cabbie. Yeah, it'll be nice. I don't think I've seen any of the boys since December. And I only saw so many of you guys, so it'll be fun. And then I'm going to be going down to Southern California in July around my birthday, and that'll be good. Definitely see more of the boys. And Joe, I forgot to tell you before the pod, but I'll tell you now. Might as well, since it's a positive note. Got some tickets. Got some tickets to the Freeway Series, dude. Dodger Stadium, Dodgers Angels, July 7th, man.
Shit.
You're invited, dude.
Oh hell yeah, dude! I haven't been.
You're rocking the hat.
Okay, yeah, but I mean, we're like, I mean,
it's more of the LA thing, not the Dodgers thing.
Yeah, no, I'm not. You know me, I'm not much of a sports person.
Yeah.
The first game I ever went to was an Angels game. But yeah, no, wearing a Dodger hat. I mean, I don't care about what like sports fans or like hardcore sports fans feel about this. Like, I'm wearing whatever hat matches whatever I'm wearing that day.
Yep.
Like
I hear that.
Especially living in like Southern California, like the LA hat, like it's bigger than the Dodgers
culture
at this point.
It's the culture.
Yeah, that's dope. I'm excited. I'm down to go. I haven't been to a baseball game in a very long time.
Especially the Freeway Series, and that'll be fun, man.
Dude, some helmet nachos.
Nah, dude. No, Dodger dogs, man. We're going to Dodger Stadium.
Oh shit!
I don't know if they got helmet nachos, dude. That was an Angel Stadium thing.
But yeah, no, you're not getting helmet nachos. You got to get a Dodger dog when you're there.
Yeah. A fucking fat beer and
gotta love overpriced beer.
Oh yeah, $20 for a 12-ounce fucking Pacifico.
Can't wait.
Yeah, that's pretty much what's going on in my life. What about you, man?
Not much going on. Since we last potted, I spent like the last like week and a half or so rewatching all the Rocky movies for some reason, and I think that reason is because I watched like Creed 3 a few weeks ago, so I just wanted to go back, and it just made me realize how much I fucking hate Paulie. You remember Paulie? Like, He was like Rocky's best friend, but he's literally one of the worst dudes ever.
He's one of the antagonists for sure.
How does Rocky have this guy like like by his side the whole time? But I guess he's like well written in that sense, because like he's written to be like not likable. I feel like that has to be intentional, but I mean, if it is, mission accomplished, because he's seriously so whack, and he's just like straight up an asshole to Adrian, who's like his sister. Even Rocky in Rocky 3 calls him like he's just like a jealous, lazy bum. In Rocky 5, he screws them out of all their money. Just bad business, bro. He's the worst dude of all time. I don't know that I despise any other character in like TV or movies anymore. Like the top 3, I think, worst people on TV or movies it's got to be like Paulie, Skylar from Breaking Bad, and Jenny from Forrest Gump.
Damn.
Top 3 worst people.
Damn, that's bold.
Anywho. But no, I've been really enjoying the Rocky movies. They're for sure probably got to go down as like some of my favorite movies ever. But yeah, that's really all I've been up to. Folks already know that I'm going to New York in April. That's gonna be fun. Yeah, That's really it on my end. Before we start talking a little Star Wars stuff, let's take just a quick break for some ads. All right, and we're back. So let's talk some Star Wars stuff. Let's talk briefly about Star Wars Celebration. A lot of rumors out there. Being rumored heavily that they're going to announce a new Star Wars. Well, I don't know if it's. I would say it's a trilogy. They're going to announce a new trilogy, but the rumor is that they're going to announce like 3 new Star Wars movies. So I don't know if that means like, because 3 trilogy, that's like the safe assumption. They could be 3 complete standalone projects. And I guess let me ask you, like, which would you prefer? A new trilogy or 3 standalones?
I mean, right now, like with this news being kind of recent, I think I'd prefer it to be 3 standalone movies. Yeah, I feel like they should start straying away from the whole trilogy thing because so the prequel and the original, they had continuity. They were both awesome, but the sequel, like, it lacked that continuity, and the fact that it's the most recent one, like, obviously it leaves doubt in our mind for directors to make another trilogy and keep that same continuity unless they find the right director and the right crew. I'd prefer, like, all right, so here's 3 Star Wars movies. We don't have titles for them yet, but like, here's a brief tidbit of information of what they're going to be about. And if it's like, like what are the characters, even if it's one character, that'd be weird too, because if I feel like the MCU, when they do like the timeline, like they come out with the titles, what I'm saying would be kind of the opposite of doing that for Star Wars, like you're not coming out with the titles, but you're like, all right, here's what it's about. But yeah, I'm very interested to see any news regarding these 3 movies, but I definitely prefer standalone 3 movies. But it's too coincidental that the rumors that there's 3 movies. Well, it's probably going to be a trilogy, but we'll see.
See, I could be interested in a trilogy. Like, I don't want them to touch the Skywalker saga anymore. Like, we're making 10, 11, 12. Like, if you do say, like, oh, they're announcing a new Star Wars trilogy, like, as a consumer, to someone who's, like, not necessarily completely tapped into Star Wars, like, just, like, someone who just watches Star Wars or consumes Star Wars more casually, they're just going to assume, like, oh, yeah, no, this is it's a continuing, like, they're making more, like, they're doing like episode 10 next, and so
that would be like the general thought from people who aren't like fanatics, like the general consumer, for sure.
I could be into trilogy if it was like just like a brand new story. I think I'd be into that. I don't know if they will ever do like something with all, like, not necessarily like a trilogy on the Mandalorian and like Din Djarin, but like a trilogy with the Mandalorian characters that they've established on TV. I think that could be pretty cool. But like I said, not with like Din as like the quote unquote lead or whatever.
Yeah.
Just like that era, and having all of them teaming up against like what we talked about. I think it was the last pod, like them teaming up against the Grisk or something, and having Thrawn in the mix of all that. And honestly, that's something that I think that they'll announce too, is who is going to be playing Grand Admiral Thrawn. And that will be huge.
My last thought on it, sorry to cut you off, but yes, like if it's going to be a trilogy and it's not the Skywalker saga, there's like 2 possible trilogies in my mind that would make the most sense to me of like where to go next. And it would be Thrawn, do the first 3 books, because you're going to get a lot of your favorite characters back, and then you're going to get some new characters that you've never met before that you're going to love and hate. Or start fresh, just hit the Old Republic, man. Like, there's plenty of content to pull from in terms of like comic books and books, but in terms of like the cinematic universe of Star Wars, I mean, it's like free reign out there. You know what I mean? Like it's like the wild, wild west if you're going to bring it to screen.
And something that could be interesting too is that, like, if you do the Old Republic, you can try to make it like a Mandalorian centered story, because Mandalorians have been around like since then,
Oh yeah, and they were at like their height almost in the Old Republic.
So that could be cool. I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
Right? You're thinking about KOTOR.
Yeah.
Who wore the Mandalorian? It was Revan. He wore a Mandalorian mask. So that'd be interesting.
That's true. Yeah. I wonder why he did, because it had to do with like what was it? There was like there was like a big war between the Jedi and the Mandalorians.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
And there was a Mandalorian civil war as well.
Yeah. But yeah, man, we'll see about those 3 Star Wars movies. But just other little bits of Star Wars news. Damon Lindelof out on being a Star Wars writer. He's being replaced by Stephen Knight, who is like he's a creator of Peaky Blinders. Damon Lindelof being out on the Star Wars movie, I was pretty bummed on. It's interesting because we've talked about so many upcoming Star Wars projects on this podcast, and most of the things we talked about are already scrapped or gone. Kevin Feige's movie is gone. Patty Jenkins' movie is gone. And like the only things that are still like up in the air, Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie, and then Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy. Who knows if that trilogy or 3 movies that we were just talking about are going to be Rian Johnson's movies. I don't think that's the case though. It's such a shame.
Yeah, it's a shame, but the more I think about it, like I don't look at it as like a missed opportunity. I think about it more of like, let's move forward and have people direct Star Wars who have either already proven that they've brought good content into the Star Wars universe already, like Filoni, Favreau. Obviously, they came up with the concept of the Darksaber themselves. I didn't even know that. Like that was their doing. You know, Rian Johnson wasn't too bad, but like everybody who's worked on the Mandalorian and the Clone Wars and Rebels have already proven to write good Star Wars content. I'm not saying it has to be somebody that's already worked on Star Wars to make future movies or future content, but like maybe let's have them make some other Star Wars content besides movies first, then decide whether or not they should be directors or part of movies. Because the movies are that's the big stuff, right? That's the box office compared to streaming services, right? We'll see, man. We'll see.
Like a lot of people are disappointed. Well, I mean, I'm disappointed to see Lindelof go, but I'm not taking this as like like, oh fuck, like Star Wars is in trouble. I'm just seeing it as like they're just being careful. So that's good. I think that's good news, you know, that they're scrapping all this stuff and they're like, okay, well, like, what do we want to do?
Can you imagine if like Bob Iger or just says like they throw out a national or like international poll and they're just like, who are your top 5 people you want to see work in Star Wars? And then just like actually base it off of that. Wouldn't that be crazy? I'm never going to do it, but I'd be interested to see the results. Like the fanatics versus like the general audience.
Well, besides Filoni and Favreau, who would, because I feel like whatever Star Wars project comes out in the future, I think they're going to be involved. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, but I guess it depends on like the role. You know, like are we talking director? Are we talking like cinematography? Are we talking writing? Are we talking?
I think for
directors and producers like Filoni and Favreau, obviously, but like Kathleen Kennedy, Taika Waititi, like Carl Weathers, like they've all done a good job.
If you told someone else that like Kathleen Kennedy has done a good job, they might come after you for that one, just because
maybe
like,
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Folks blame Kathleen Kennedy for the sequel trilogy. They're like, oh, it's because of her that these things ended up the way they were.
I meant to
like,
say Bryce Dallas Howard.
She put out the Mandalorian. Like she's one of the executive producers behind the Mandalorian. So it's like, come on, guys. But no, I'm dreaming of like a Steven Spielberg directed Star Wars movie. I think that would be fucking nuts.
For the director, that would be fucking crazy. But the writing, we leave to Double F.
Yeah.
Probably won't happen, but it'd be prime.
They'd have to fork out some cash for that. Maybe they will. Who knows? Star Wars isn't pumping out like 1 million projects a year, so they might have a little bit of money for that. Damn these fucking hiccups. My apologies. Anywho, these announcements will be very soon here. April 7th through 10th is Star Wars Celebration. Expect us to be popping off on the socials, posting stuff about the announcements. If you don't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. But damn it. Okay, that's it. That is it for Star Wars news. Let's get into Chapter 20 of the Mandalorian. Like I said, directed by Carl Weathers. Written by, I think it was Filoni and Favreau, the old double F. Yes, written by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. The episode starts out, they're back on, I don't know where they are, but I just know it's Lake Powell, where they filmed this. It's a bunch of Mandalorians just training. Bo-Katan is kind of just walking around. She kind of feels like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, I'm back with my people. You know, we get a little, Mando is still trying to train Grogu. He's saying stuff like if he's going to go from foundling to apprentice, like he has to train. He sets up a little duel between Grogu and another, the Clan Vizsla foundling. I think the thing that I liked the most about this was the whole nod to size matters not. Very cool stuff. Love to see it. I am curious though, like I wonder if Grogu would have gotten clapped by this kid if they literally used any other weapon. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely, I mean, maybe not wondering whether he would get clapped if they use a different weapon, but I was definitely like, all right, what weapon is this kid going to pick? Well, the Vizsla's son, like what is he going to pick? And then he picks training darts and you're like, all right, that's fair considering like the age difference and the size difference and all that stuff. Yeah, like what if they went like hand to hand, or they went like you could only use like the lasso, like the wrist lasso or something, because they obviously don't use deadly force in the training stuff. Well, maybe they do, and we just don't get that part of it. But if they use something else, like a different weapon, Grogu probably still would have clapped fucking Vizsla's son. I'm not gonna lie.
He probably would have used the Force to like try and clap him somehow.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say is Grogu, he can't call in the power of the Force well if it's not immediate danger or if there's a lot of emotion involved. He hasn't been able to prove to do that. But once there's like emotion and, danger involved, like he's done crazy fucking shit, considering his age and like how much he's actually trained. So, but yeah, awesome scene. I loved it because it was Luke's training. It wasn't Mando's training, man. It was Luke's training.
Yeah. I also love how like Grogu just looks so cute when he's like getting like strapped up with the little training darts, the little paintball training darts. He just keeps on like looking back at Mando, like with his little big old eyes, like, "Hey, dude, am I good?
Dad?
Like, am I cool to do this? Like, what am I doing?" And then Bo-Katan is like trying to hype him up. She's like, "Hey, your dad's just proud of you. Like go kick his ass, little guy." I'm like, "Oh, is Bo-Katan mother? Like, fuck, holy shit." He's just adorable. Like I said, honestly, I did like the scene. Okay, I thought it was cool. I love seeing Grogu win, but I'm thinking like maybe we should chill a little bit on the Grogu flips because this one looked so ridiculous.
I mean, it's a puppet. Like how well can you do it?
No, like. Yeah, no, I appreciate the commitment to practical effects for this because the commitment to the Grogu puppet, like, there's no CGI for Grogu with exception to like his flips and shit. Well, honestly, I don't even know if that's CGI. They probably just literally use like attached strings to him and flip the thing around. Just looks so bad. It's like if I grabbed a Grogu puppet and just tossed it up in the air. That's literally what it looks like, dude. That's what it looks like. And I'm just like, dude, this is like, I get it. It's fine. But I mean, come on. I think if we want to get Grogu into more combat scenarios, let's just CGI him. Because I'm definitely into CGI model Yoda fighting in Attack of the Clones. I feel like a lot of people don't like that fighting scene because it's like it's over choreographed or whatever. But I think it's the coolest thing ever. Well, moving on from that, then we get fucking dragons. Oh yeah, and Grogu wins the duel. But fucking dragons, bro. One of this thing kind of just flew in and swooped up Paz Vizsla's kid. Then after he gets swooped up, they chase after it for a little bit, and we find out that the jetpacks run out of fuel. They have to nerf the jetpacks a little bit. You know what I mean? They couldn't chase it down, but Bo-Katan continues to chase after it in her ship. Then she finds out where the lair is at. And then we go back to the armorer and Grogu. She's just kind of telling him like stuff about the culture. She proceeds to make him a new piece of armor. But in the midst of this, at first, I can't lie to you. Like, remember the first episode when she had like a little circle of Beskar, but then she forged it into a helmet? I thought that's what was going down here because it was a circular piece of Beskar. Dude, is this about to be his like super silly helmet with his ears sticking out of it? But it ended up being just a big ass breastplate. Like, get the breastplate stretcher, bro.
Ow! You're torturing the poor boy.
See, now this scene for me, like I was just complaining about the practical effects, but it's like scenes and moments like this when I think the practical effects on the Grogu puppet are very impressive because what they're now able to like do with his face,
his expressions.
Expressions, and you could tell how much distress this poor little fella is in. But then we get a flashback, and this is very similar to I think it was in season 1 when the armor is making a new set of armor for
It's almost the
Din.
same.
It's pretty
Like-
much the same, honestly.
Yeah.
When she's making armor for Din, you get flashbacks to him as a kid, and then for this one, she's making his little breastplate, and then he's getting flashbacks to Order 66. Like, what's going on when the fucking armor makes armor for people? What's so triggering about this experience? I think it's kind of cool though. It's like, because when she makes new armor for them, it's like they have to like think on their past for some reason. I don't know if what like triggers that memory for them or whatever, but we get another flashback to who saves Grogu during Order 66. This was quite the reveal, and it was a reveal I didn't think was coming in this episode. But essentially what happens, we go back to Order 66. We're back at the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. And who is it that saves him? It is none other than Kelleran the Sabered Hand Beck, portrayed by Ahmed Best. This fool fucking puts in work. If you guys don't know, Ahmed Best, this is not his first time in Star Wars. Folks may or may not know him as Jar Jar Binks from the prequel trilogy. And after he was Jar Jar, he did like a little YouTube series called Star Wars Jedi Temple Challenge, which is like, it's actually like a thing through Lucasfilm. Definitely geared towards kids, but just like a little synopsis, honestly, you guys know. The series puts its young contestants through a series of obstacles as a part of like Jedi training, and to test them on the core Jedi principles of strength, knowledge, and bravery. And it's hosted by Ahmed Best. Well, anyways, we find out he's the one that rescues Grogu. And after years of crazy theories, I'm glad like everyone's theories were just so fucking wrong. Like I don't know one theory out there saying that like, oh, Kelleran Beck is gonna rescue Grogu. But you know, I'm glad they're all wrong, because I'm pretty satisfied with this result. I think it makes perfect sense. Especially if Ahmed Best is out here hosting like a Star Wars contest show where he hosts kids. It's kind of meta in that way. But the question for me now is like, I do wonder where he is taking Grogu after this, or who he might possibly pass him off to. I guess that's like the next big theory bit of the puzzle, to which I have no theories. The show was awesome, man. Kelleran just using 2 lightsabers to fight off so many stormtroopers. We get that chrome ship. We get some of Padme's royal guard. It was just so cool. What'd you think about all this?
Man, yeah, I won't talk too much about the scene with Grogu and the armor. Well, the one thing I'll say is like supposedly that breastplate, as the armor kind of explained it, is supposed to grow as he grows. Like literally as he grows, like the breastplate's gonna grow. At least that's how I interpreted the scene. But yeah, man,
I don't know, because she says like you will grow into it. I thought that's what she said.
I guess I kind of interpreted that as like, and vice versa, because it has all like the electrical wiring in it. You know, it's not just like straight up Beskar. So maybe she's more of saying like its capabilities you will learn as you grow. Yeah, dude, the whole flashback, just another heartbreaking scene. Not for the most part, but just seeing the clones with all their unique paint on, because they learned to grow and have like unique identity just firing on the Jedi. It's never easy to watch if you're a Star Wars fan. But the positive and the bright side of it, Ahmad Best, I didn't know this part of it, but apparently he like committed, or not, he didn't commit, but he was considering committing suicide with all like the hate that he got for Jar Jar Binks and like all the negative feedback. And it's just it's another one of those things where I'm like, why are you hating on the actor for this? It's not like the actor wrote the character into the story, you know? And I'm not sure if he even personally received hate mail or all that, but just the fact that if the article I read is true, the fact that he considered it is just so sad to me. And I love the fact that he's getting like a redemption chance to get back into the Star Wars universe as a different role. I'm not even gonna say better role, because I don't hate Jar Jar Binks, but yeah, I fucking loved it. Apparently also but Kelleran, he was the supervisor to the training of the Jedi younglings. And when it's on like a certain ship, it's kind of like in the episode of, is it Clone Wars or Rebels? No, it's Clone Wars, where they have like the droid that helps them build their lightsabers, and they take them to that frozen planet. Kelleran is the supervisor for training on like a different ship. But there's not a whole lot of like lore about him out there. So I had a hard time finding like what else does he do. But loved him coming back, seeing the Nubian yacht as I've read it. Is that the same ship? Like, is that the same Padme ship? Same Phantom Menace ship? Probably not. Doesn't matter. Probably not. But no, this is awesome. Fucking love hearing the sound of Republic gunships again. For some reason, like them flying and like their blasters, it just makes me so nostalgic to like when I first watched Attack of the Clones. I love it. But that's a tiny thing for me. I'm very interested to see. So we find out who rescued him, but where does he go after this? And then why does he end up alone? That's the gap that still needs to be filled.
Because he kind of lost like his abilities, right? And he kind of forgot a lot of things.
I feel like most Jedi have the capability to just close themselves off from the Force. Like, it's not something you have to learn. But yes, why does he cut himself off? And then how does he get such a high bounty between Order 66 and the beginning of the first season of The Mandalorian?
I think that all has that like ties into like Dr. Pershing and like why he would why he wants the midichlorian count from Grogu. But yeah, no, so we'll see about that. But I just wanted to backtrack just a little bit to what you said about Ahmed Best, how he was like contemplating suicide and all that stuff. And like, as much as we love Star Wars on here, I gotta say that like it has some of the most terrible fans, quote unquote fans, if these folks even want to consider themselves fans. It happened with the prequel trilogy. Folks bullied him Ahmed Best. People bullied fucking the kid who played Anakin. I forget his name. I don't even know what that guy's up to these days.
Yeah,
I think it's Jake Lloyd is his name. But yeah, no. After Phantom Menace, he wasn't. I don't think he's been doing anything in like TV or movies or whatever. And then with like pretty much everything that comes out now, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Kelly Marie Tran,
the Inquisitor in Obi-Wan.
No, the Inquisitor in Obi-Wan. I was about to bring her up, but that's Moses Ingram.
Yes.
They got fucking terrible shit from people online. And it's one thing if you don't like the sequel trilogy, but like if you're out here just saying like these folks were legit triggered over the fact that you had a female lead in Star Wars. Not only that, you had like a black co-star, and then in The Last Jedi, you had like an Asian character with a prominent role. Star Wars fans will like chew up these characters, and it fucking sucks.
And then it's at that point
for years,
dude. And when you do that, it's like you've now denounced yourself as a Star Wars fan. Like you can't love the universe, but then pick certain parts of it and say, no, this is fucking shit, and then just make like shitty, racist, anti-woman fucking comments on the fucking internet about decisions that these people didn't even make. Like this, like it all comes down to the writing. It has nothing to do with their performances either in the content. It has nothing to do with it. It's just so stupid. Like, sure, sequel trilogy, somewhat poorly rated. That's not Daisy Ridley's fault. That's not John Boyega's fault. Like, it's not fair. Like, it's not a fair negative critique.
It's a fucking shame.
Fuck them all.
Yeah, fuck them. And I love like when the whole Moses Ingram thing happened, and this isn't even something that like fucking Ewan McGregor came out and said like, you know, I stand behind Moses, and if you're making these types of comments, like you're legitimately like you're not a Star Wars fan in my eyes.
Damn.
And like that was like one of the first times that I'd ever seen like someone else like stand up for another cast member.
And it would be Obi-Wan.
Yeah. Anywho, let's go back to the episode. Well, one more thing on Kelleran Beck. I think, I don't know how much or if at all we will talk about young Jedi adventures, but I think Kelleran Beck is going to be in that.
I mean, that'd be nice to flesh it out a little bit, you know? Like
yeah.
Flesh his character out a little bit, and like the whole youngling journey.
Damn, what if that's the squad that he meets up with? Like, what if the young Jedi adventure? Oh man, adult Gunji. That's what you said, right?
It's Gunji. I said Ginji, but it's Gunji.
Or well, no, he's not an adult by Order 66. But yeah, no, just a little. Oh man, that'd be so cool if he just brings him to that crew. That'd be an interesting way to connect like the animated shows to the live action stuff. But anyways, after that, we go back to wherever all the Mandalorians are at. They put together a plan to rescue the Vizsla kid from the dragon. They bring a little party with them. And I'm like, dude, these fools are like trying to scale mountains or scale this thing where the dragon's at. And fucking Paz Vizsla is out here scaling this mountain with carrying a giant ass chain gun for no reason, bro. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This is so silly. Like, literally just drop it. Why are you carrying it? Like, you're not even going to be using it. Well, I guess in that moment, that's what I was thinking. But yeah, so then they scale up the mountain, and then they get met with the dragon again. And the dragon has like 3 little kids, and it's trying to feed the kid to its offspring or whatever. And I'll be honest with you, man. If this season has been showing me anything so far, it's the fact that the Mandalorians aren't shit against giant animals. And they're supposed to be like the fiercest warriors in the galaxy. And this season has quite a way of showing that. I mean, they ended up defeating it in the end. But it took a little bit. Like they definitely looked a little better against the dragon than they did versus the giant alligator.
No, Bo-Katan and Mando did. Yeah, but the rest of them not so much.
Oh yeah, honestly, that's right. Like if Bo-Katan and Din weren't there, I think they would have been cooked. That kid would have been food for those little offspring dragons.
Oh yeah, maybe fried eggs, dude.
And then there was another nice little nod to there's always a bigger fish.
God damn it.
So I was down. Love seeing that. Or well, one more thought. Like how in all this time, like this is me just being super nitpicky, but like it feels like some time had passed between when they put this plan together. Like it's been at least like a day and a half or so.
Yeah.
And this kid wasn't already food for the kids by the time they got to him. And how long had he been chilling inside the dragon before he got puked up? I'm like, bro, what's happening?
See, I would understand.
Any thoughts on this?
I would understand if he was wearing a full Mandalorian like armor set. It's kind of like when Din went into the fucking the crate dragon. Like I understand that armor protected him from that, like going into the intestines of a beast like that. But the kid's only wearing a helmet. Most like mammals, they have like digestive enzymes that break things down the longer they stay in there. Like it's kind of just how like the GI system works, you know what I mean? Like fuck if I know, man. This is a reptile on a planet that we don't know. But yeah, I mean this section of the episode it kind of felt like I was watching an episode of like Rebels that was like Mandalorian focused but wasn't really that substantial. You know what I mean? It was just like this random side mission that they were all doing in live action with like really good cinematography and really good effects. Yeah, I wasn't like super hyped on it. I was just kind of like, this is cool strictly for the fact that it's Bo-Katan time and time again proving that she is born to lead. I did think it was funny that lake lizard or whatever you want to call it popped up and just fucking snagged that big ass dragon.
There's always a bigger fish, man.
Always a bigger fish. Yep. Huge old teeth. Speaking of Jar Jar, big goober fish.
So before we actually talk about the final scene, because before I was on this pod talking about how like it's gonna be Bo-Katan versus Din for the season of The Mandalorian, but now I'm kind of like, is it actually though? Are they like actually pitting them against each other? And I don't think it doesn't feel like that's the case anymore. It kind of just feels like a Daenerys. Well, yeah, I'm gonna go there. It feels like a Daenerys and Jon scenario. What do you think about that?
My feeling about Bo-Katan right now, and in terms of like the power struggle, she wants her to find her way back to power of whatever it is. She has the creed in her heart, but not until now. She actually been inducted, so to speak, back into the Mandalorian way. And I think she's still kind of like tumultuous, like internally about she accidentally went into the living waters, right? Like she accidentally bathed in the living waters. And just by her doing that, she found herself in a place where after being dethroned, watching her sister die, after ruling Mandalore for a little bit, wielding the Darksaber, she's going back up. You know what I mean? Like she's on the rise again.
She went back to basics. Like she went back to the beginning to try to like, almost like to try to like be like, as corny as it sounds, to try to like be reborn again in a way.
That's how I see it. But on her like rise back up, will Din Djarin be a threat to that power? I don't think so, and I don't think he necessarily wants power. Like power just kind of finds him. He just wants to do what's best. He wants to follow the creed, and that's it.
Goes back to exactly what I was saying with like the whole Jon and Daenerys thing, is that like Jon didn't want power. He clearly said it in like the final season, and Din doesn't. I don't think Din really wants it either. I think he just wants to like do right by Grogu.
And speaking of that, now I'm starting to wonder, Din is on his second quest, right? To bring Grogu to his people. That's the second quest.
Well, he's not on that quest anymore. Now he just wants to take care of him.
So you saying that, now I wonder, even if the Jedi, Ahsoka and Luke were his people, now that he's becoming a Mandalorian, are the Mandalorians his people? So yeah, I don't know. But I still do feel like in terms of the story and like, because this is the halfway mark, right? This is episode 4 and there's 8 episodes.
Confirmed via IMDb.
I feel like it's kind of creeping close to this point where we can write off some of the characters a little bit and then move into introducing new characters that we're going to see in Ahsoka, and kind of end this whole like strictly Mandalorian timeline. And I'm also surprised that we didn't just go straight back into the Dr. Pershing arc, because they just like threw that in there, episode 3. Like, okay, so we got 2 straight episodes of Mandalorians, throw Dr. Pershing in there, no Mandalorians, then we go straight back to Mandalorians. I'm a little bit surprised they didn't like just follow up there. We'll see where that comes back. But all in all, like, short episode, 25 minutes, something like that.
This is true, but there are a lot of it. It is, I will say, it is the shortest one, but like just barely. The total, including the credits, is like 32 minutes. I think the next one is like 35 minutes. So they're like, they hit between like the 30 and 40 minute range. But no, you're right. Like it's the shortest episode ever. The episode of Bad Batch that came out this week was just as long.
And for Bad Batch, that's
for Bad Batch, and like being just as long as like an animated episode, But I think that's like Disney Plus does that. A lot of their shows, they don't run that long, and I think that's one of the issues with their original content. It's like short episodes, and the seasons aren't that long. But yeah, so let's talk about this final scene a little more. Bo-Katan, during that dragon fight that we were just talking about, she lost a shoulder plate, and the armorer offers to make her a new one, and then Bo-Katan wants a mythosaur signet on the shoulder plate. It's interesting that she went that route, because I don't believe that we've seen anybody else with a mythosaur signet besides Boba Fett. And his isn't even like a real like the signets are kind of like elevated off the shoulder plate. Like he has like just like a painted on like mythosaur thing on his shoulder plate. And his armor was like, it's like every other Mandalorian armor. It was like passed down through generations and stuff. So I'm wondering if there's something in Boba Fett's history with the mythosaur for them to be rocking the mythosaur signet. I feel like if you're gonna rock the mythosaur signet, you gotta be like big time. Even though the armor says okay, the mythosaur belongs to all Mandalorians, of course it's appropriate to wear it, but all the other Mandalorians don't have it.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that we don't see it, and it's also interesting because they introduced this whole thing she's sitting there, the armor's forging a new shoulder plate, and she's like, is it appropriate to wear one of the Night Owl? And that's something that we never heard of.
I thought that was like her whole thing. I thought that was Bo-Katan's whole thing.
It's her whole thing, but I don't think it's ever actually been stated. I'm a Night Owl, or like I'm part of the Night Owls. I don't think that's ever been,
not even in Rebels,
said. I mean, not that I can remember, but I do know that it's the Night Owl signet is basically like a full female Mandalorian group. Oh no. Yeah, no, it did come up in, I think it's Clone Wars. Paz Vizsla, who are you, Night Owl?
Yeah, I'm in, it's been in Mando. I'm on fandom Wikipedia right now. It's been in Clone Wars quite a bit. It's been in Rebels quite a bit. I'm just scrolling through the appearances by episode. And
here's my thought on this last scene in general is I'm not a fan of the armorer's response to Bo-Katan when Bo-Katan said I saw the mythosaur. It was there. I saw that. And she just says, yeah, you were delusional at first. That's pretty much what she says.
It's like she doesn't
And
even
she-
hear her out.
Yeah. And then
You
she's
know?
like, no, like I saw this. And then she just says, this is the way. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Like
I
it's
thought
like
that
go
I
ahead.
straight up thought the armor was just going to be like super fucking surprised and be like, you saw a mythosaur? It has myth in its name, but you saw one? Nope. And that makes me think like, are they know mythosaurs are real and they're dormant for some reason or whatever, but they choose to keep the mythosaur a myth for a specific reason. Or like as like, you know, kind of like a mystery. I wanted to see like some actual like emotion out of the
Yeah.
armor. I don't know. What did you think though?
It makes me feel like the armor and everything she stands by, it makes me feel like she's a hypocrite for not even wanting to hear Bo-Katan out about the mythosaur. The fact that she's brushing it off so much, because she's like it's almost like this group that she's with, the Children of the Watch, they like worship the mythosaur. So like why is it to her that it's like such a outlandish thing to say? It's like, oh, I saw the mythosaur. Like the only thing to her is that like, oh, well, it was just a vision. Like, I don't believe you. I think it's so interesting because Bo-Katan was always the one talking down. Like prior to this, she was always talking down on the Children of the Watch, being like, oh yeah, they're religious zealots and they're trying to do this, that, and the other. And then she actually sees the actual thing that the Children of the Watch are like trying to like.
She saw God.
Essentially, she saw their deity or whatever. It frustrated me too, but like not in a bad way. It's just like, it's like, how can you not even try to believe that she saw it? Like you believe in all this other stuff.
And it'll come up again. Maybe she's also like holding her composure. Like maybe she's actually super surprised, but she's like, this is huge news, but I gotta hold it for like to bring it up at the right time. You know what I mean? Because maybe in her mind she's like, oh, this changes everything, but I'm not gonna reveal that just yet. Like
I'm just surprised this will probably be a reveal, or not even a reveal, but like conversation for another time type shit. The armor will ask is like, you said something about the mythosaur, like where'd you see it? That little type of conversation. Like maybe that's just for a different episode. Or we see the armor travel to Mandalore herself to like try and figure it out.
That'd be sick.
Or like Bo-Katan takes the armor. It's like, oh, you don't believe me? All right, let me show you. Like, let me take you back to Mandalore, where the armorer doesn't even want to go because she thinks it's cursed. She's been telling all these people, like, we can never go back to Mandalore. So Bo-Katan's going to have to be the one that's like, look, it's not cursed. Me and Din were just there. We bathed in the living waters. Like, we proved it to you already. Like, if you don't believe me about the mythosaur, let's just go check it out.
Maybe the mythosaur is the curse.
Whoa.
Why?
Maybe...
I don't know. Maybe it's such a powerful creature. It can't be.
Dude, is that why we're seeing the Mandalorians get clapped by so many giant monsters? Because they're going to have to face off with the mythosaur?
Your ancestors once rode the great mythosaur. What if that's a lie and they never did? They can never defeat the mythosaur.
To tame it?
Ever. Yes. And
dang,
that's why the Mandalore is cursed. Because there is a mythosaur there. The armorer knows it. Nobody else does besides them, and that's the curse. Like,
that's why they can never return.
I don't know.
Wow. And Din doesn't even know. So it's like,
he's unconscious.
This last scene was interesting because even the music kind of made it feel like Bo-Katan was like up to something.
A little ominous.
Cool stuff though. Yeah, a little ominous. And like, yeah, ominous, mysterious, and like when she's talking to the armor, she has that like weird little like head tilt, you know, like
trying to read facial expressions through a mask. Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's how the episode ends. This little conversation about the mythosaur, and yeah. So I think overall this episode, I definitely really liked it a lot. I think I'd give it like a 3.8 for me out of 5.
Yeah.
The Coruscant stuff, very cool, very cool. I am like kind of bummed out on the length, but I thought there was like interesting lore that we saw here. But yeah, what about you?
In terms of the rating, I'm there with you. It's like just short of a 4 for me. And I think some of that has to do with like the last episode, which is my lowest rated episode out of the 4. Coruscant stuff's fucking amazing. But the Mandalorian stuff, as much as I love being there for it, we'll see where they go. Because there's 4 episodes left, and what I want from the season, the longer this goes on, the longer I'm not getting it. We'll see.
But okay, I'll do it for episode 118. Thanks for listening, folks. Be sure to follow the Kyber Culture on all our socials. Subscribe to our YouTube page. We'll be trying to do some video content in the future. Apologies for my hiccups. But yeah, follow us on all socials, Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd. All the links are in the description. Until episode 119, we'll catch you guys next time. So peace.
Peace.